So I would focus my talk on the role of private sector in all of this, and also some of the private-public partnerships in building resilience. And without belaboring the point, I think it's fair to say that agriculture has contributed to this problem, but it's also a potential solution. So we all do know that agriculture, or there are reports that suggest that agriculture contributes to roughly 25% to global greenhouse emissions, and this already is a challenge when it comes to these discussions of climate change. But agriculture also has the potential to contribute to solving the problem of climate change. The real challenge that we are seeing here is, facing agriculture is how we are going to feed a growing population using dwindling resources without putting too much pressure on the ecosystem. And as some of the past speakers have already alluded to, you could see that there's already a bit of pressure on our ecosystem, which is being caused by climate change, and you don't want to exacerbate that. And also considering that Africa is going to be one of the continents that's going to contribute significantly to the global population growth. Then this is a big challenge indeed. So the big paradox then is whether to produce or to preserve. So and we all do know that if you want to entirely preserve, then it's very easy for you to reach your climate targets. But we cannot just preserve. We need to produce because there is a growing population that need to be fed, changing diet patterns that need to be met, and all of that. And so the question is how to produce and preserve at the same time, which brings us to the topic of sustainable intensification, which is it is possible to be able to produce more with less using sustainable practices that would not put too much stress on an environment that is already under stress due to climate change. And so we are already seeing some of this happening. So you could see agriculture has come quite a long way, and it's in some way not nearly enough, but in some way already contributing to this, to solving some of these paradoxes. So this is a picture of an experimental plot in the US, and if you can see this area back in the good old days, how much land and inputs and resources you would need to produce the same amounts that, for instance, compared to recent years, where you need much more smaller fields, less inputs to get the same amount of yield. This is by no means to suggest that we have reached, but agriculture has made some progress in reaching that. And the future where we want to go is to even produce more with much less inputs, that will reduce our carbon footprint. So this is not very clear from the picture, but if you could see this a bit clearer, that maize you're seeing, the reason you're not seeing much difference between these two is because this is shorter maize, and so we're looking at what we call short stature corn, which would then enable us to produce more with less resources. So it is doable. How do we make agriculture part of the solution? And previous speakers have already outlined a number of these problems already, and to make agriculture part of a solution, this is by no means an exhaustive list, but will require a number of potential levers. For instance, from as simple as cover crops, which would help us keep some of these greenhouse gases in the in the soil, to advanced breeding techniques that would then enable us to come up with new germplasm that would enable us to fight some of these problems that are being caused by climate change, be it pest and diseases. Um, we would now, or even environmental stress, we are able now to produce using advanced breeding techniques, seeds that would be able to withstand some of these abiotic stress factors, and even the biotic stress factors that is being caused by climate change. But also using advanced practices that would help us to conserve water a bit better, and also digital solutions, also disrupting the sector right now, which is helping us mine a number of data points that would then fit into agricultural practices that would allow the farmer to avoid unnecessary fertilization or an unnecessary spraying of crop protection products, efficient use of water resources, and all of that. All of these using advanced digital tools and also predictions that would help the farmer to reduce carbon footprint. We're also looking at areas such as no-till agriculture, where now we are able to encourage conservation farming, such that you don't spend a lot of energy and scarce resources to go till the soil, and also thereby liberating all of those carbon that has been sequestrated. But then you can actually cultivate your fields without tilling the farm, and all of this is possible because of technological advancements that are coming up. So it is possible to promote all of these changes, but it would take a bit of work, in that we would need to then establish a fair price for carbon, and also incentivize farmers to be able to build that into their farming practices, thereby resulting in meaningful reduction in uh, carbon emissions. So think of it this way: what if, aside the crops that the farmer would harvest, that you have to pay for, we can also pay the farmer for his demonstrable ability to sequestrate carbon in the soil. That way, they have additional incentives and income stream to be able to build some of these climate smart practices into their agricultural systems. So here at Bayer, we are already collaborating with multiple partners and stakeholders and NGOs and all of that to start making this a reality. We are already working with some of these NGOs and external parties to come up with a carbon accounting framework model that we could use. But aside that, also partnering with the farmers to understand their needs better in times of this changing climate. Or now we're also deploying a number of some of these digital tools that I've already spoken about. And we are also making some bold sustainability commitments that I like to talk about. Some of these commitments includes reducing field greenhouse gases by 30%. Also reducing environmental impact of crop protection products by 30%. And we are also hoping to empower at least 100 million smallholder farmers in the coming years. All of these targeted as various as SDGs, and we are hoping to achieve all of this through seeds and traits, crop protection, digital farming, and then also a tailored solution that embodies all of these technologies. So I just stay on this slide a bit further. So I guess some of the previous speakers did talk about so some challenges. For instance, if we talk about pest and diseases, they spoke about fall armyworm and also the current locust invasion that is ravaging the region and all of that. We talk about fall armyworm invasion, for instance. There are solutions, tailored solutions out there that involve advanced breeding techniques and technological innovations that could help us to fight some of these issues. So it's not just mitigating; it's also trying to come up with better practices that would help the farmer to reduce their footprint in the first place, thereby improving the environment. And I'd like to talk about some of these partnerships that is enabling us to do just a few of them. One of them being the WEMA Teller maize. So WEMA is the water efficient maize for Africa. It's a partnership that started somewhere in 2008. It's now called Teller. Teller is not an acronym. It's just a Latin word meaning shield. You could use both interchangeably, and with this partnership, what we are trying to do is to avail technologies to the smallholder farmer in developing countries, particularly in Africa, that would help them fight pests and diseases better, but also help protect against extreme weather conditions such as drought. So with this, we are aiming to increase yield stability and reduce risk under the drought condition. And this partnership is targeting both conventional breeding, but also the use of biotechnology. So if you look at the bigger picture, we want to promote the adoption of drought-tolerant hybrids, maybe deliver biotech traits that would both protect against insect and also against droughts, and improve the seed regulatory landscape and also contribute to some of our sustainability pledges. So you could see some of the partners we are working with. I wouldn't go through all of these, but we do work with CIMMYT, with AATF. AATF is a Kenya-based and non-governmental organization that is kind of brokering some of these deals between organizations like Bayer and the other partners who are involved in all of this, to make sure that the technology is given to the farmers royalty-free. And this is in very advanced stages, particularly here in Kenya, where some of the maize are already undergoing trials. Ethiopia is also on the radar. These are the East African countries that I can think of who are part of this project. Now there's another partnership which is also to do with breeding, which we are working with IITA, basically to boost their breeding capacity. For lack of time, I'll just talk briefly about the vision. So this partnership is covering all of the IIT crops. So we're looking at cassava, cowpea, soybean, maize, yam, banana. Quite a bit of investment going into this, and we're hoping to help them boost their breeding capacity, and hopefully with that would be able to produce more germplasm that are more climate smart, particularly in some of these crops, which are, for lack of a better word, I could call them orphan crops that are not very widely traded, like say cassava and yam, banana, those ones, which are food security crops. At least help them to improve the breeding capacity in all of this. Now, one other thing I would want to mention, and I think Dr. Kendi also point out to that in his triangle that he showed, which is his last slide. A lot of these technological innovations are there and could be deployed in Africa, but one of the limiting factors sometimes tends to be the policy environment in Africa. So you have technologies that cannot be deployed to solve some of these challenges in Africa because the policy or the regulatory environment is just not adequate, or is not ready to adopt some of these technological changes that are happening. And so I think that is one of the key areas where the public sector could also help in creating enabling policy environments for some of the technological innovations that could help us fight climate change better, and also create incentives for the private sector to play a key role in making this happen. And with that, I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Happy to take any questions.